Have you ever felt that moment when you look back and realize something has shifted inside you? That the weight you've been carrying feels a little lighter? That you're breathing more easily? If you've been through trauma, it can be difficult to recognize when healing is truly happening. Often, we're so focused on the pain that we don't notice the subtle yet powerful signals that we're transforming. And dear one, those signals are there, waiting for you to recognize and celebrate them. In this video, you're going to discover the clear signals that you're healing from trauma. We'll explore together how your body, mind, and soul are showing you that transformation is happening. You'll learn to recognize the lightness that's emerging, the inner strength that's awakening, and the self-love that's blossoming. And more than that, you'll understand that healing isn't just possible, it's already happening inside you. There will be a special moment in this video where you can join a community of souls in transformation. And at the end, a powerful practical exercise that will help you integrate all of this in a real and tangible way. Stay with me, because this journey we're about to take together might be exactly what your heart needs to hear today. You're not alone, and the healing you so deeply desire is closer than you imagine. Let's begin now to recognize and honor your incredible journey of transformation. The awakening within. Have you noticed that moment when you wake up and feel something different in the air? It's not something you can touch, but it's there, like a gentle breeze passing through your heart. It's lightness. It's peace beginning to blossom within you. When we're trapped in trauma, we carry an invisible weight that accompanies us in every step, in every breath. But when healing begins, that weight dissolves, and you feel you can breathe more deeply, that you can smile without forcing it, that you can simply be. Louise Hay always reminded us that healing begins the moment we choose love instead of fear, and that lightness you feel. It's love taking its rightful place in your life. Inner peace doesn't arrive all at once, like a storm that passes. It comes in gentle waves, in small moments of grace. Perhaps you notice you're no longer ruminating over that difficult conversation from the past, or that you can watch a movie without certain scenes taking you back to that dark place. These are precious signals that you're healing, according to Louise Hay. When we begin to release negative thought patterns and replace them with affirmations of love and acceptance, our body and mind respond with this sensation of relief. I am healing. Each day I feel more love. Allow yourself to say this internally as many times as you need, because it's true. Think of Sarah, a woman who spent years carrying the pain of an abusive relationship. She told me that for a long time, she would wake up with tightness in her chest, as if something heavy was always pressing on her heart. But one day, after months of inner work, daily affirmations, and choosing to treat herself with kindness, she woke up and felt something different. The tightness was no longer there. In its place, there was a sensation of space, of possibility. She described it as if her heart had finally found room to breathe. This is the kind of silent miracle that happens when you commit to your own healing. And you deserve to experience this too. Louise Hay taught us that our thoughts create our reality. When you begin to notice this lightness, you're witnessing the transformation of your thoughts in action. You're no longer feeding the trauma with fear and resistance. You're nourishing your soul with compassion and acceptance. And that changes everything. Lightness doesn't mean you've forgotten what happened, but rather that you're no longer allowing it to define who you are. You're rediscovering yourself, reconnecting with the pure and loving essence that has always been within you. I am worthy of peace and joy. This affirmation isn't just a beautiful phrase. It's a profound truth that your heart is beginning to recognize. So when you feel this lightness, celebrate it. Don't ignore it. Don't minimize it. It's living proof that you're on the right path. It's the universe whispering in your ear, "You're healing, dear one. Keep going." And as you move forward, this lightness becomes more constant, more natural. It becomes part of who you are. And when that happens, you realize that healing isn't just about overcoming trauma, but about rediscovering the beauty and joy that have always been your birthright. And there's so much more waiting for you on this journey of self-discovery and self-love. Your body's secret language. There's a powerful moment in the healing journey when something shifts inside you. It's when you look in the mirror and see not the person who was hurt, but the person who was choosing to rise. You're no longer defined by what happened to you. You're defined by the courage you're showing now, in this exact moment. Louise Hay always reminded us that we're far more powerful than we imagine, and that we have within us the capacity to rewrite our story. When you begin to recognize your own strength, When you realize you're no longer waiting for someone to come save you because you're saving yourself, that's healing. That's real transformation. For years, you may have felt trapped in a role you didn't choose, the role of victim, and there's no shame in that, because trauma places us in that position without our consent. But healing begins when you realize you can step out of that role. Not overnight, not with a snap of your fingers, but step by step, choice by choice. According to Louise Hay, when we change our internal narrative, when we stop seeing ourselves as powerless victims and begin seeing ourselves as powerful survivors, everything changes. You begin making decisions that honor who you truly are. You establish boundaries. You say no when you need to say no. I am strong and capable of creating the life I desire. Repeat this to yourself and feel the truth of these words resonating in your being. Let me tell you about Jennifer, a woman who went through profound trauma in childhood. For decades, she saw herself as someone broken, someone who would never be whole. But then, she began working with Louise Hay's Affirmations and going to therapy. One day, something extraordinary happened. She was in a difficult situation at work, and instead of shrinking and accepting unfair treatment as she always did, she stood up and defended herself with clarity and firmness. Afterward, she told me it was as if a new version of her had emerged, a version that had always been there, just waiting to be recognized. This is inner strength awakening, and it's within you too, waiting for you to recognize and embrace it. Recognizing your strength doesn't mean denying the pain you felt. It means honoring that pain and, at the same time, recognizing that you're greater than it. Louise Hay taught us that we're creators of our own experience, and that we can choose thoughts that empower us instead of thoughts that diminish us. When you begin seeing yourself as a survivor, as someone who went through fire and emerged stronger, you're rewriting your story. You're telling the universe, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And that choice, that conscious decision to empower yourself, is one of the clearest signals that you're healing deeply. This inner strength awakening in you isn't aggressive or harsh. It's gentle, yet firm. It's loving, yet unwavering. It's the strength that comes from knowing who you are and what you're capable of. It's the strength that comes from trusting yourself again. And as you continue on this journey, this strength becomes your constant companion, guiding you through any challenge that may arise. You're becoming the heroine of your own story, and that's something truly beautiful to witness. If these words are resonating in your heart, if you're feeling this inner strength beginning to awaken, I would love for you to join this community of souls in transformation. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more content that will support you on this journey of healing and self-love. Leave a like if this video is touching your soul, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message of hope. And tell me in the comments, which insight from this topic resonated most with you. Was it recognizing your own strength? Was it realizing you're no longer a victim? Share with me, because your journey matters, and I want to hear from you. The foundation of everything your body is wise, far wiser than we sometimes give it credit for. It holds memories, emotions, and yes, it also holds trauma. But here's the beauty of it. It also holds healing. When you're healing from trauma, your body begins sending you signals, gentle messages that something is changing. Perhaps you notice your back doesn't ache as much as before, or that constant tension in your shoulders has begun to dissolve, or that you're sleeping better, waking up more rested. Louise Hay always taught us that body and mind are deeply connected, and that when we heal our mind, our body responds with gratitude and relief. The physical signals of healing are real and tangible. According to Louise Hay, many of the pains and illnesses we carry have emotional roots. When we begin releasing trapped emotions, when we forgive, when we choose thoughts of love instead of fear, our body literally begins to heal. You might notice your digestion has improved, that you no longer have that constant headache, or that your energy has returned. These aren't coincidences. They're signals that you're doing the inner work, and your body is celebrating this transformation. My body is healing and I feel stronger every day. Allow yourself to feel this truth in every cell of your being. I know the story of Maria, a woman who suffered severe trauma and, for years, had chronic stomach problems. Doctors couldn't find a clear physical cause, but when she began working with Louise Hay's Affirmations and doing therapy to process her trauma, something incredible happened. Gradually, her digestive problems began to disappear. She realized her stomach was literally holding the fear and anxiety she couldn't express. As she released these emotions, her body responded with healing. This doesn't mean you should ignore medical care, but rather recognize that emotional and physical healing walk hand in hand. Louise Hay taught us that every part of our body has a connection with our emotions and thoughts. When you begin paying attention to the signals your body is sending you, you become more aware of your healing journey. You notice you're no longer living in a constant state of alert, that your nervous system is beginning to calm down. You might notice your breathing is deeper, that your heart beats more peacefully. These are precious gifts your body is offering you, saying, "We're safe now, we can relax." And when you honor these signals, when you thank your body for everything it did to protect you, you deepen your healing even more. So pay attention, listen to your body with love and compassion. It's telling you a story of resilience and renewal. And as you continue on this journey, you'll discover that your body isn't just a vessel for your soul, but an active partner in your transformation. It's supporting you, guiding you, showing you the way back to wholeness. And there are even more wonderful healing signals waiting to be discovered. Breaking free at last when you begin treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a frightened child. Something profound happens inside you. Self-love isn't selfishness, it isn't vanity. It's the sacred recognition that you're worthy of care, of respect, of compassion. And when this self-love begins to blossom, it's one of the clearest signals that you're healing from trauma. Louise Hay dedicated her life to teaching us that self-love is the foundation of all true healing. Without it, we're building on sand. With it, we're building on solid rock. Are you beginning to look in the mirror and see someone who deserves love? That's a silent miracle happening. For so long, trauma may have convinced you that you weren't enough, that there was something wrong with you. But the truth, the deep and unshakable truth, is that you've always been worthy of love. According to Louise Hay, when we begin approving and accepting ourselves exactly as we are, we create a sacred space within us where healing can happen. You might notice you're being kinder to yourself when you make a mistake, that you're no longer punishing yourself for not being perfect, that you're celebrating your small victories instead of focusing only on what still needs improvement. I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. This affirmation, when repeated with sincerity, has the power to transform your entire life. Let me share the story of Rebecca, a woman who spent years blaming herself for trauma that wasn't her fault. She would look in the mirror and see only flaws, only shame. But then, she began practicing Louise Hay's mirror exercise, looking into her own eyes and saying, "I love you. I really love you." At first, it was painful. The tears came, but she persisted. And gradually, something changed. She began believing those words. She began treating herself with the tenderness she always deserved. And when that happened, everything in her life began to change. Her relationships improved. Her work flourished. Because when you truly love yourself, you attract experiences that reflect that love. Self-love isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. It's choosing kind thoughts about yourself. It's establishing healthy boundaries. It's saying no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what nourishes your soul. Louise Hay taught us that every thought we have about ourselves is creating our future. When you choose thoughts of self-love, you're literally creating a brighter and more loving future. You're telling the universe, "I am worthy of good things. I deserve to be happy." And the universe responds to that declaration with opportunities, with loving people, with experiences that confirm your worthiness. As you continue cultivating this self-love, you realize it becomes your anchor. On difficult days, when trauma memories try to pull you back, it's self-love that keeps you steady. It's what reminds you of who you truly are, beyond what happened to you. And this love isn't fragile or conditional. It's strong, resilient, and eternal. It's the foundation upon which you're building your new life, and it's absolutely beautiful to witness. Rediscovering pure joy forgiveness is perhaps one of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself. And when you begin feeling that you can forgive, not necessarily the person who hurt you, but forgive the situation, forgive yourself for carrying this for so long, you're witnessing a profound signal of healing. Louise Hay always taught us that holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was right. It's about releasing the weight you've been carrying so you can finally breathe freely. Are you beginning to feel this possibility of liberation? That's your soul calling you to freedom. Many people confuse forgiveness with forgetting or with allowing abuse to continue. But true forgiveness, as Louise Hay taught us, is about releasing the emotional charge that's keeping you trapped in the past. It's about choosing your peace above the need for justice or revenge. According to Louise Hay, when we forgive, we're not doing a favor for the other person, we're freeing ourselves. You might notice you're thinking less about that person or situation, that when the memory arises, it no longer comes with that overwhelming emotional charge, that you can look at the past with compassion instead of anger. I release the past with love and choose peace. Allow this affirmation to become a gentle mantra in your heart. Think of David, a man who was deeply betrayed by someone he trusted. For years, he carried anger and bitterness, and it was literally making his body sick. But when he began working with Louise Hay's concept of forgiveness, something began to change. He realized that holding that anger was only hurting himself. So he made a conscious choice to forgive, not because the other person deserved it, but because he deserved peace. And when he did that, it was as if an enormous weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He began sleeping better, smiling more, living more fully. Forgiveness freed him from a prison he himself had built. Louise Hay taught us that forgiveness is a process, not a single event. Some days you might feel you've forgiven completely, and other days the anger might return, and that's okay. Healing isn't linear. What's important is to keep choosing forgiveness, keep choosing your peace. You can use affirmations, you can write letters you'll never send, you can do release rituals. Whatever works for you is what's right. And as you practice forgiveness, you realize you're creating space in your heart for new and beautiful things. You're letting go of what no longer serves you to embrace what nourishes and elevates you. Forgiveness also includes forgiving yourself. Perhaps you've blamed yourself for not seeing the signs, for not protecting yourself, for trusting the wrong person. But dear one, you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at that moment. And now, you're doing even better. You're choosing healing. You're choosing love. You're choosing life, and that deserves to be celebrated. Forgiveness is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, and crossing that bridge is an act of extraordinary courage. And dear one, before we continue exploring these healing signals, I want to tell you that I've prepared a special practical exercise for you at the end of this video. Something that will help you integrate everything we're talking about and experience this transformation in a tangible way. So stay with me until the end, because this exercise might be exactly what your soul needs right now. The hidden teacher within you lives a child, the child you were before the trauma, before the pain, before the world taught you to be afraid. And one of the most beautiful signals that you're healing is when this inner child begins to emerge again, bringing with her the joy, curiosity, and capacity to marvel at simple things in life. Have you noticed you're laughing more easily, that you can have fun without guilt, that you're rediscovering pleasure in small things? Louise Hay always reminded us that healing the inner child is essential for our complete healing. When you embrace this child with love and safety, you're rebuilding the foundation of your joy. Trauma often steals our capacity to feel pure and uncomplicated joy. It places us in a state of hypervigilance, where relaxing seems dangerous, where having fun seems impossible. But when you begin healing, this inner child, who was hidden and frightened, begins to trust again. According to Louise Hay, when we connect with our inner child and assure her that we're now here to protect her, something magical happens. Life begins to have color again. You might catch yourself dancing in the kitchen, singing in the shower, or simply smiling for no apparent reason. I allow my inner child to play and be free. Repeat this and feel the lightness that comes with this permission. Let me tell you about Emily, a woman who went through childhood trauma that made her grow up too fast, taking on responsibilities too heavy for her small shoulders. For decades, she lived a serious, controlled life, with no space for play or spontaneity. But when she began working with her inner child, following Louise Hay's teachings, something extraordinary happened. She bought colored pencils and began drawing, something she hadn't done since childhood. She went to the park and sat on the swing. She allowed herself to be silly, to be light, to be free. And as she did this, she realized she was recovering parts of herself she thought were lost forever. Joy was returning, and with it, a sense of wholeness she didn't know was possible. Louise Hay taught us that our inner child needs to hear that she's loved, that she's safe, that she's welcome. When you begin having loving conversations with this part of you, when you assure her that now you, the wise and strong adult, are here to care for her, healing deepens. You can do this through visualizations, where you imagine embracing your inner child. You can write letters to her, saying all the things she needed to hear when she was small. You can simply do things she would have loved to do, honoring her desires and her need for joy. Every act of love directed toward your inner child is an act of profound healing. As your inner child heals, you realize life becomes lighter, more colorful, more full of possibilities. You're no longer just surviving, you're living. You're allowing yourself to feel pleasure, joy, enthusiasm. And this doesn't mean you're denying what happened or that you're being irresponsible. It means you're honoring your right to be happy, your right to experience the fullness of life. And that's one of the greatest victories of your healing journey. Surrendering to grace. Every experience in our life, no matter how painful, carries a message for us. And a profound signal that you're healing is when you can look at trauma not just as something terrible that happened, but as a teacher who showed you patterns that needed to be seen and transformed. Louise Hay always taught us that our thoughts create our reality, and that often trauma shows us old mental patterns we were carrying unconsciously. When you begin recognizing these patterns, when you can see the limiting beliefs that trauma reinforced, you're on the path to true liberation. Are you beginning to see these connections? That's wisdom emerging from pain. Mental patterns are like invisible tracks that guide our thoughts and behaviors. Often, these patterns were established long before the trauma, perhaps in childhood, and the trauma simply reinforced them. According to Louise Hay, when we identify these patterns, like I'm not enough, I don't deserve love, or the world isn't safe, we can begin changing them consciously. You might notice you're questioning automatic thoughts you once accepted as truth, that you're noticing when your mind is repeating old stories that no longer serve you, that you're consciously choosing new thoughts, more loving and empowering ones. I choose thoughts that support and elevate me. This conscious choice is the heart of transformation. I know the story of Michael, a man who suffered trauma that left him with a deep belief that he couldn't trust anyone. For years, he lived isolated, keeping everyone at a distance. But when he began working with Louise Hay's teachings, he realized this belief wasn't an absolute truth, but a mental pattern he had adopted as a protection mechanism. He began questioning this pattern, exploring where it came from, and consciously choosing to believe that trustworthy people exist in the world. And as he changed his thoughts, his reality began to change. He began forming genuine connections, allowing people into his life. The mental pattern had been identified and transformed. Louise Hay taught us that we're the only thinkers in our mind, and that we have the power to change our thoughts at any moment. When you recognize that trauma showed you patterns that needed to be healed, you take the power away from trauma and put it back in your hands. You're no longer a passive victim of circumstances. You're an active creator of your reality, and that's incredibly empowering. You can use affirmations to reprogram your mind. You can do shadow work to explore deeper beliefs. You can seek therapeutic support to guide you in this process. What's important is recognizing that you have the power to change. As you continue identifying and transforming these mental patterns, you realize you're creating a new narrative for your life. A narrative where you're the heroine, where you have choices, where you're worthy of love and happiness. And this new narrative isn't just a beautiful story you tell yourself, it becomes your lived reality, your daily experience. And that, dear one, is the true magic of conscious healing. A gift for your soul. There's a moment in the healing journey when you realize you're not alone, that you never were, that there's a greater force, a loving intelligence that's guiding you, supporting you, holding you in every step. Louise Hay called this infinite intelligence. Others call it the universe, God, or simply life. And when you begin trusting this force, when you feel you're being sustained even in the most difficult moments, that's a profound signal of healing. Are you beginning to feel you can relax in life's embrace? That you can trust everything is unfolding exactly as it should? This trust is one of the most precious gifts of your journey. Trust doesn't come all at once. It's built gradually, through small experiences where you notice you were cared for, you were guided, you were protected. According to Louise Hay, when we open ourselves to receive the universe's support, when we stop trying to control everything and allow life to show us the way, miracles happen. You might notice you're less anxious about the future, that you can be present in the current moment without constantly worrying about what might go wrong, that you're seeing synchronicities, small signs that you're on the right path. I trust the process of life. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Allow this affirmation to calm your heart and bring peace to your mind. Let me share the story of Grace, a woman who went through devastating trauma that completely shook her faith in life. She felt abandoned, betrayed by the universe. But as she began healing, small things started happening. A friend would call exactly when she needed it most. A book would fall from the shelf with the perfect message. An opportunity would arise at just the right time. At first, she dismissed these things as coincidences. But over time, she began noticing a pattern. She was being cared for. Life was conspiring in her favor. And when she allowed herself to believe this, when she surrendered to this trust, her healing accelerated in ways she never imagined possible. Louise Hay taught us that life loves us and wants the best for us. But often, trauma makes us believe otherwise. It makes us feel the world is dangerous, that we can't trust, that we're alone. But the truth is, you're deeply loved and supported. And as you heal, you begin feeling this in your heart. You begin seeing evidence of this in your daily life. And this trust isn't naive or blind. It's a deep and wise trust that comes from recognizing you're part of something greater. That you're connected to all of life, and that this connection is unbreakable. As you continue cultivating this trust, you realize you can let go of control. You no longer need to be in constant alert, trying to predict and prevent every possible danger. You can relax, you can breathe, you can trust that life supports you, that you're safe, that all is well. And this sensation of deep security, this peace that comes from trusting the journey, is perhaps the most beautiful signal of all, that you're truly healed. You're ready to live fully, to embrace life with open arms, knowing you're loved, supported, and guided in every moment. The mirror ritual of healing now. Dear one, the time has come to transform everything we've talked about into a real and tangible experience. I'm going to guide you through a powerful exercise that Louise Hay used and taught, mirror work, but with a special touch focused on recognizing and celebrating your healing. How to do it. 1. Prepare the space. Find a quiet place where you can stand in front of a mirror without being interrupted. It can be the bathroom mirror, bedroom mirror, anyone where you can see your face clearly. Light a candle if you want to create a more welcoming atmosphere, or play soft music in the background. 2. Breathe and connect. Before looking in the mirror, close your eyes and breathe deeply 3 times. Place your hand on your heart and feel it beating. Acknowledge that you're alive, that you survived, that you're here. 3. Look into your eyes. Now, open your eyes and look directly into your own eyes in the mirror. Don't look away. It might be uncomfortable at first, but stay present. Look at the person you see with compassion and love. 4. Acknowledge the signs of healing while looking into your eyes. Say out loud, I recognize that I'm healing. I see my strength. I see my courage. I see my beauty. Notice how you feel saying these words. Allow the emotions to come, whether tears or smiles. 5. Gratitude, affirmations to your body. Still looking in the mirror, thank your body for the healing signals it has been showing you. Say, thank you, Buffy, for carrying me through this journey. Thank you for healing. Thank you for showing me I'm safe now. 6. Declaration of self-love. Finish by looking deeply into your eyes and saying with all the sincerity you can muster, I love you. I really, really love you. And I'm so proud of you. Repeat this 3 times, allowing the words to penetrate deeply into your heart. 7. Seal with gratitude. Place both hands on your heart, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Thank yourself for having the courage to do this exercise. Thank life for supporting you on this journey. Practice this daily, even if just for 2 minutes. Over time, you'll notice your relationship with yourself is transforming, and that self-love is becoming your new reality. Your beautiful journey, dear one. You made it here, and that alone is proof of your strength and your commitment to your own healing. Everything we talked about today, all these healing signals we explored together, are invitations for you to recognize the extraordinary transformation happening inside you, the lightness, the strength, the body's signals, the self-love, the forgiveness, the healed inner child, the transformed mental patterns, and the trust in life. All of this is available to you, not as something distant you need to reach, but as something already blossoming in your heart in this exact moment. Allow yourself to recognize this. Allow yourself to celebrate each small step of this journey. And above all, be gentle with yourself. Healing isn't a race, it's a sacred dance between you and life. And you're dancing beautifully. Continue with love, continue with compassion, and know that you're deeply loved and supported in every moment of this journey.